Hey, Brennan here, BrennanValesky.com, and in this video, you're going to learn everything about dropship clothing. Now, when getting into dropshipping clothing, there are a few key things that you need to understand when getting into this space within the e-commerce realm. So the three things we're going to be going over predominantly in this video today is, first of all, what is it? So what is dropship clothing? That's the first thing. Number two, branding and your store, and also kind of some of the marketing aspects as well. And then number three is suppliers. What kind of supplier options do you have? Where are you going to source your products from effectively? Your clothing. Where are you going to get that clothing from? And I'm also going to be going through a couple of different examples of, some of the suppliers that you have for options and a couple of pieces of clothing that I've actually ordered from some of these suppliers and kind of go over the quality of them as well as, what you can expect from those kind of suppliers. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. So the first thing is, what is it? So dropship clothing or dropshipping in general is effectively where you are selling products that you have either handpicked from a store, right? You're handpicking products from a supplier, or you're going the print-on-demand route, which we're going to be going into a little bit more in depth in this video as well. Or you're having products print on demand that are sent directly to your customer. The other products you're handpicking, basically selling the products from your supplier on your store. Those products then, when a customer comes onto your web store, your e-commerce store, they go in, they buy the product, and then you just click fulfill in your dashboard, whether you're using Shopify, which is the platform I use and typically recommend, or you're using WooCommerce or whatever platform that you choose to use to set up your e-commerce store on. That is basically where you fulfill the orders from, right? So you fulfill the orders, and then you're just sending a ping to your suppliers to then have the supplier send the product directly to the customer. So you're effectively not touching the products. You have your supplier do that. The supplier is fulfilling, handling all that kind of stuff. You don't touch them whatsoever. So that is effectively what dropshipping is in dropship clothing. Now, the next aspect is branding and store. Now, a lot of people want to start their own clothing brand, right? Their own fashion line, okay? And a good way to do that is to do dropship clothing because, for one, there's not a lot of upfront cost on the product. That's really the biggest problem if you wanted to get into the clothing space in general, because if you wanted to do a line of t-shirts, right, a line of t-shirts like this, traditionally, without dropshipping, it would cost you like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars to go to a local company, have them print out the t-shirts for you and do a run of t-shirts. That's what's so nice about dropship clothing instead, because you're not having to do and spend all this money up front, not even knowing if the design is going to sell. Like, it could be a terrible design that people just don't like, or something that people just don't enjoy in general. Now, this is mostly from the print-on-demand perspective. If you were to do the print shirts, right, as your clothing that you're going to sell. And we're going to be going into kind of like more fashion brand stuff as well in this video for some other options. But if you're going to go the route of print on demand with t-shirts, what if a t-shirt design doesn't sell, right? That's the downside to traditional retail stores, okay? I used to work at an Adidas store, and we had tons and tons of product in the back that would never ever sell, okay? It would just sit in the boxes up there, and I honestly don't know what they did with it. I don't know if they just donated it eventually or whatever they decided to do with the clothing, but people didn't want it, right? And that's kind of the downside to typical retail. That's where you kind of come in with this whole dropship clothing aspect and are able to succeed without spending a ton of money up front to test different designs and to test what people like and actually want to buy, right? It gives you some wiggle room there. So that's kind of like the print-on-demand aspect to keep in mind. Now, if you do want to go deeper on print-on-demand, I actually made a whole nother video you can check out right here in this card that's going to pop up. That kind of takes you over the basics of how you would pick like a design, like what you actually want to do to succeed with print-on-demand if you're interested in print-on-demand. Okay, that's one of the other options there. And in terms of your overall branding and your store, right? So you set up the store, you have some clothes in there. A lot of the store, it needs to be focused around some sort of niche, right? If you're doing a fashion brand, kind of trying to be like a Supreme, right? The thing is that if you're trying to be like that with a fashion brand, stuff like that, you need influencers that have big followings to buy and represent your stuff. I actually have a friend who runs helps with the clothing brand on Instagram, and he has rappers wear the clothing, okay? That is the way that you get people to see your stuff. If you're doing just like a brand, just the name of the brand, like trying to be I'm saying supreme lightly because there's a lot of different things you could go down with that route. But if you're trying to be like a fashion brand, right, and you're trying to market yourself as a fashion brand, it doesn't have any kind of specific like niche around it, right? So people will buy the clothing because they're like, oh, that cool dude wore it, I want it now, right? Kylie Jenner uses her lipstick. Oh, I want that lipstick now. It's the power of influencers. So if you're leveraging Instagram influencers and rappers and all the kind of like social media buzz around your brand, then yeah, you need to focus on getting people to actually see it, because you can make the coolest fashion stuff ever, but if no one sees it, nobody will ever know about your brand in your store. And there's a ton of people trying to do this. So make sure if you're going that route with the whole like fashion brand, and make sure that you really keep in mind that you need to be communicating with people that have followings, because it's not going to just pop out of nowhere. Now on the flip side, if you want to go more of a niche specific business, right? You want to do like, I don't know, camping t-shirts, okay? You want to do camping t-shirts, then yeah, you could totally go the print on demand route, and that's going to be pretty chill for you. Like that's going to be able to rank in Google on your store. You're going to be able to get some SEO stuff. You're going to be able to really effectively grow a brand around a niche audience, which is a lot more, it just depends on the route you want to go. Like in my opinion, I like that route better, but if you're trying to go the fashion brand, you know, one of my friends does that, so just recognize the differences there, and you know, because they have different types of marketing. Like one is going to go more the influencer route, the other is going to go more, you know, SEO niche specific. Maybe you could run some Facebook advertising for either one as well. Lots of different options there, so just keep that in mind when you're thinking about your overall branding, your aesthetic, how you build out your e-commerce store. Whatever platform you're using, that is going to matter, okay? It's going to matter how you design your store and the type of branding that you give off. If you want to go more the niche or more kind of like the influencer promotion type route. They're two very different strategies. Both work, like I said. Now, number 3, moving into kind of the last one here, really the big one it's going to take a while in this video to go over, is your suppliers. So the thing with suppliers, right? Let's start off with print on demand, right? Like I said, with print on demand, that's one of the other routes that you can go. If you make a t-shirt, right? I have always used Printful to do print on demand. Now, there are other options out there as well. There are a ton of different online suppliers. Printful is just one of the ones that I've always used. And the thing to keep in mind, whatever print-on-demand service you end up choosing, is that you also are able to pick specific t-shirts, right? Certain types of t-shirts. This one actually is an anvil, ring spun. You probably can't really see that too well. But it's an anvil t-shirt, okay? I also have another one here, just another example. This is not one that I actually printed. This is one I got from a restaurant, local restaurant, Capital Tacos and stuff like that. So they have like a skull t-shirt. It's kind of cool, right? I don't really wear it too much, but regardless, I digress. This is another type of design. So now the thing that you notice here is that this design here is actually really clean on the print on demand that they use. Now, I'm not sure if they used a local print store to actually make this or not. They might have done it online. I'm not exactly sure about that. I didn't ask them, okay? But you can see the design is like really clean, right? If I go in there, you can see that the Dia de los Muertos is very clean, okay, on the design. Now, if you look at this one, the one that I printed, I made a mistake, okay? I didn't use a vector graphic. So if you look at the edging here on this little like black logo, it's not very good. Okay, so when you're doing print on demand, if you decide to go that route with dropship clothing, dropshipping clothing in general, you need to make sure that it is a vector graphic. If it's not a vector graphic, you will absolutely be screwed, okay? Your graphic is gonna look all fuzzy and blurry. People aren't gonna like it. You're not gonna like the result, especially if people are buying from you and they're like, you know, not so happy with what they paid for. That's the thing. So in comparison, whereas Capital Tacos, this one here is very clean. They obviously used a vector graphic because it's very high quality. So you want to make sure that you're using vector graphics when you're designing your t-shirts for print on demand, because otherwise the print's not going to come out very good at all, okay? Now, the next option as well for suppliers is something like AliExpress or Alibaba, or potentially Taobao. Now, Taobao and AliExpress are probably the two that you would use for this, just because the supplying it is a little bit simpler. Taobao is a little bit more complex. Now, two different products that I actually ordered through my friend, because Taobao, if you want to order through them, it's Taobao, if you're wondering about the spelling, Taobao. That is one of the suppliers that actually has really, really great quality clothing. The only thing is that like actually doing the shipping is kind of a pain, although I do, in the blog post below, that I made going a little bit more in depth on each of the different suppliers. You can check that below in the description, and that goes over more in depth about how to do the supplying, and it links to like another blog post that kind of tells you how to use Taobao as a supplier. But I mean, their clothes are absolutely amazing. I have like a full wardrobe of clothes from them. So this one is one just like a little rose long sleeve tee, little roses. I mean, it's not amazing, but like it's pretty good, okay? The t-shirts, I wouldn't necessarily say are that amazing, but the jackets that I have are like stellar quality, okay? So if you're going more the fashion brand route, I would recommend going Taobao. I am also going to compare AliExpress in a second here. Taobao is better for the actual quality and the diversity, because not that many people know how to order through them. Like I said, it's a little bit difficult, but once you get it figured out, you have like a system going with the drop shipping and sending it to different, sending from the manufacturer to a fulfillment warehouse. It could be very, very straightforward and streamlined for you. It just takes a little bit of upfront work, so keep that in mind if you are going this route. So as you can see, this jacket here, this hoodie, is a very like fashion forward type hoodie. Now, I'm not exactly like a fashionista here, okay? I'm not like, oh my god, like I know fashion so much. Like I'm not trying to pretend to be like that, but I think it's kind of cool. Okay? I think that this jacket's really nice, thick quality, and is good. That's something that you don't necessarily see from all like Chinese manufacturers. So that's what's kind of cool about Taobao. Now, you still have to do research on it, because some of the stuff is a little bit odd, okay? Now, when I say odd, this also applies to AliExpress, really any Chinese manufacturer. You're not going to run into this problem with print-on-demand from USA fulfillment centers. This is more so a Chinese manufacturer issue that you could potentially run into. So it's the sizing, okay? The sizing is kind of the problem. So as you can see, print-on-demand stuff like this is going to fit the traditional American sizes, or what people are used to. The size charts are very accurate. It's very easy to understand, okay? So that's one cool thing there. Now, with AliExpress, Taobao, both are very much the same, where the clothing is quote-unquote Asian sized, okay? I'm not trying, like, that's just what it is, okay? The clothing is smaller, okay? So this is a medium. This is like Chic is like the brand, okay, which is kind of funny. But this is a medium. Now I typically wear a men's small, because I'm kind of like small framed. I am like 5'11", so I'm kind of tall, but I don't exactly have like a massive bone structure, right? They're kind of small, so I wear small. Now in this shirt, I actually wear a medium, and in a lot of the stuff that you're gonna find on AliExpress and Taobao and any Chinese manufacturer website that you decide to use for your fulfillment and all that kind of stuff, it is going to be small. So make sure that when you're importing the stuff onto your e-commerce store to resell at a markup, make sure that you're selling it and adjusting the sizes. Maybe order them before putting it on your store. Like order it yourself to test the sizing and see how it fits, and then adjust accordingly. Because this medium is not really a medium, it's more like a small. So, and that could be a very big problem if you don't want to get a lot of returns, okay? You don't want to deal with refunds, returns. It's kind of a pain. So that is going to potentially eliminate a lot of those problems that you might be having, okay? You might be having that issue where, a small fits like an extra small. So make sure that instead of putting, it's a small on your store, make sure you label that it's actually an extra small. If it's, you get what I mean? Like it says small on the manufacturer, but it actually fits like an extra small. Like this shirt right here says medium, but it fits like a small. So consider that as well when you are ordering different products, fulfilling your stuff on there. Now, the next thing to understand as well is the quality. Like I said before with AliExpress versus Taobao, you need to be making sure the quality is good and there for your customers. Because if the quality is not good, you're not going to have a good reputation. You want to build up, like I said, a good brand and a good store. Okay, so good branding and a good store. I have a lot of other videos on this channel and on my website that kind of go over the whole like branding and store elements as well. What makes a good store, what makes good branding. It's very, very important, especially with clothing, because people, you know, there's tons of different options out there. They want to choose you because they know, like, and trust you, right? So you have to provide that to people. And that is only going to be built over time, slowly, with a good reputation, building out a good following, and actually giving people what they wanted. Now, another thing to consider as well, I know this is quite a long video, you know, thank you for making it this far if you already have. If you have all, you know, if you've made it this far, drop a like on this video so we can get that engagement up. But the last thing here, right, the last thing is your pricing, okay? And considering your margin to actually make money with this business. Because, yeah, it's cool, pie in the sky, like all this fun stuff, right? Ooh, I want to do print on demand. I want to make cool designs and cool stuff. Oh, I want to sell these jackets. But, like, at the end of the day, if you don't actually have cash flow in your business and you're not making any money and, like, you're not growing anything and you're just kind of spinning your wheels, it's going to be hard to continue with this venture, this kind of dream that you have to create your own clothing brand, e-commerce store, you know, whether that's whatever platform you end up choosing, you know, print on demand, whatever you want to do, your clothing, your dropship clothing, dropshipping store, okay? Your e-commerce brand, it has to be making money. How do you make money, right? You have to increase the margin there. So if you are, and it has to be reasonable too. So that's another thing to consider. And that's why, like, dropshipping in general, you have to really consider the margin, because some dropshipping stuff you can make maybe $20 per sale on it. Other stuff you might only be able to make $5. So consider that as well, the different margins. The margins on dropshipping, depending on the items, could be good or it could be bad. You have to see what people are willing to spend, okay? So if you are selling this t-shirt here for, let's say, $40, you know, and you buy it for only like $10, you just made $30 on a t-shirt, which is pretty good. Now, the thing is t-shirts in general, you know, they don't, like, just print on demand t-shirts don't have any inherent value to them. You are adding value with the design that you choose. If I were to, you know, scratch out the names of Capital Tacos on here and just do Dia de los Muertos, the design there, if I was selling that as like on Dia de los Muertos, and sold it as like, wow, this is a cool skull t-shirt, the value might be, you know, $25, okay? But if you have a really solid brand, because at the end of the day, clothing in general really is not worth that much. Like, it's all the branding that makes people want to buy things, okay? Gucci, right, they make their shirts for the same cost, okay? They make their shirts for like, a few bucks each. The reason why people are buying it is because of the brand. Now, obviously, I recognize that you're probably not going to be able to go out there and try and be like Gucci, of course. That's quite an unrealistic expectation to become like a Gucci or a crazy fashion brand like that, obviously. But the reason why people buy stuff, the reason why you're able to give a good markup and actually make money on your dropship clothing, or your clothing brand in general, is because you're offering value with what you're selling. You can't just expect people to buy this random design if that's not what they are interested in, if it's not that cool, or if you don't have enough brand authority established, okay? Because otherwise, someone might just go to the local store and be like, oh, I could get the same thing for much cheaper, right? It's the branding that makes them want to choose it. They want to buy it now, and wow, like, this is unique, right? You're offering something unique. That's the whole difference here, is that, wow, I can't find this anywhere. Like, honestly, I really can't find this anywhere. Maybe you can, but I was like, dang, I'm down to buy this. And I might have paid, like, for the thickness and the quality of this jacket here, I might have paid $60 on a good day if I really, really wanted it, okay? And I think that I ended up paying, like, from the manufacturer, maybe like 20 or less. It's pretty cheap. So consider the markup there. Just remember that you need to add value, have good descriptions of your products, have good designs, like, pay a good designer if you aren't a good artist, okay? You know, if you want to learn more about all of that kind of stuff, at least the specifics of how to do the suppliers and the real nitty-gritty on the suppliers, check out the blog post below. I go really in depth there about the suppliers, linking out to other websites that can kind of help you more with getting the supplier stuff set up, because it is a little bit more complex. I figured I'd kind of go over it in this video, but a lot of it requires like step-by-step on the computer stuff. So that's already in other videos, other content that you guys can check out below, other videos that are linked, like I said, the other video earlier as well, if you want to go in depth more on print on demand and all that kind of stuff. But I hope you got some good value out of this video, how to start your dropship clothing business, right? What is it? Covered that about what is dropship clothing, okay? The branding and the store elements and the suppliers, all that kind of stuff. That is what we went over today. If you got some value out of it, definitely drop a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well so you get notified for all future uploads on this channel. Leave a comment down below if you have any other questions. I am definitely happy to help you out with this stuff. And that is all for today's video, so I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.